Hit the wrong button. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. This week is National Small Business Week, which really honors and celebrates America's entrepreneurs and innovative startups. Small businesses account for 98% of all businesses in Delaware and more than 55% of the workforce. The Division of Small Business knows how important small businesses are to our state's economy and our communities, and we want to assist them in as many ways as we can. One of those ways is by offering things like today's webinar. We try to be creative about what we can provide to our small businesses, knowing that we are a state agency with limited resources. So we hope that you find today's webinar informative and helpful as you work to start, maintain, or grow your small business. I want to introduce everyone that's on the panel here. So Gabby Andolini will be our presenter. I'm going to give her a formal introduction in a little bit as well. Regina Mitchell is our director, acting director of the Delaware Division of Small Business, and Gary Haber is our communications manager. I'm Jessica Welch, the communications director for the division. If you have questions while Gabby is presenting, please put those questions down into the Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom window. This allows us to answer your question and also allows other people to see the answer to the question in case they have the same question as you. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can from the Q&A. All right, so I'm going to introduce our presenter, Gabby Andolini. Gabby has over a decade of experience in media and digital marketing. She was named one of Delaware Business Times' 40 Under 40 in 2016. She has led social media efforts for organizations in web hosting, destination travel, small finance, nonprofit, arts, event, and snack food sectors. Andolini is a much sought digital marketing and social media consultant in both the public and private sectors, known particularly for her work with tourism, nonprofit organizations, small local businesses, and social media event promotion. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in Communications from DeSalle University and is secretary of the board of directors of the Public Relations Society of America Delaware chapter. Gabby resides in downtown Wilmington, Delaware with her husband Lou and her puppies, whose hashtag you can follow at Clementina and Reds in the city. So first, I just want to thank Gabby so much for joining us. When we reached out to Gabby to do this webinar, she was super excited and she was very happy to do this for us so that we can help small businesses throughout Delaware. So Gabby, I'm going to turn it to you now.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for signing up today. Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. So today, obviously, as Jessica said, we are going to be talking about introduction to social media for small business. So as Jessica said, I'm Gabby. I have a digital marketing agency called Inkdolini. I've been working in media and marketing for over a decade. Before I moved back here to Delaware, I had a 6-year career in television. So that accounts for the media part of my experience. And I've been working in marketing here locally since 2009. So today we're going to cover why social media is important. We're going to go over some of the core platforms, that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We're going to talk about content creation and some best practices there, how to integrate your social media into your overall marketing. We're going to do a super quick Facebook and Instagram advertising overview that's kind of like its own class in and of itself. And then there's going to be a whole slide of resources and tools. There are links in this presentation. You're going to be getting a copy of it, so you'll have access to all the links. So don't worry about that. So let's get started. I tend to always go over time, so I'm going to talk quickly, but again, put your questions in the Q&A box, and if it's something that makes sense for me to answer right away, I will do that, or we will answer questions at the end. So first, why is social media important? it's too impactful not to prioritize. I think we all know what's been going on for the last 2 years. Everyone's home, well, not so much anymore, but most things are happening still virtually, right? There are more people online now than ever before. You'll see the stat in January of 2022, the average internet user spent about 2.5 hours per day on messaging apps and social media. And that's just like average. And I think we can guess that that's probably a lot more than that. Over half of the world's population is now on social media, and 82% of internet users in the US are on social media. And this graph from the Pew Research Center kind of speaks for itself. You can't ignore it. You got to do it. Here we are. So how does social media help small business growth? It's crucial. 90% of social media users, that's worldwide, have already connected with a business or a brand through their preferred platform. 18 to 34, most likely to follow a brand on social media. 95% of social media users age 18 to 34 are following brands on social media or businesses. The likelihood of a consumer to recommend a brand on social media after having a positive experience is about 71%. Now we know the other side of that stat is if they've had a bad experience with a business, that percentage goes up, that they're going to share that on social media. But what does social media do for you as the business if someone has a bad experience with you? Gives you the opportunity to respond in a very public way, which it can be good or bad. Social media provides information and opens up customer communication. We're going to talk a lot about how the various platforms can serve you in a customer service capacity. It gives your business the opportunity to be found online. That bullet point used to say for free. That's not so much the case anymore. Social media, especially Facebook and Instagram, really is pay to play to an extent. It's not expensive, but you do have to have a couple dollars. And it adds professionalism and legitimacy to your business. Now, throughout this presentation, that bullet point's gonna come up a few times. Here's what I want you to be thinking about as far as that bullet point is concerned. Think about a business of which you are a customer or you are looking to become a customer of a business, and you look on their Facebook page, their Instagram, their Twitter, their LinkedIn, and they haven't posted for months, for years, whatever. Think about what you then think of that business. If their website's not updated, if their social media is not updated, if it looks off, if it looks weird, what are your biases on that business just because of that? So we're going to talk about that, but just have it in the back of your mind and start thinking about that. As your customers are becoming more digitally oriented, which we're now seeing every single generation becoming extremely digitally savvy, having an updated and aesthetically pleasing online presence, it's critical. It's pretty critical. So let's get into the platforms. Facebook. I always tell my clients and small businesses that I consult with that Facebook is your best place to start. That is where you're going to hit the most people and the most every generation, right? So there's 2.7 billion monthly active users, that's it worldwide, on Facebook. And you can really see truly every age range is represented there. Now, that 18 to 24 age range, everyone's like, oh, you can't hit them. You can't hit them on Facebook. You can. Are they active on Facebook? Are they engaging? They're not, because, their parents and their, in some cases, grandparents are on Facebook, but they're there and they're scrolling and they're reading your messages. They just may not be engaging. So they're kind of silently there. But you're super engaged age ranges on Facebook are going to be that 30 to 64, those two middle ranges. And we're seeing that increase for the 65 and over. That number, that 65%, has like doubled. I've been teaching classes like this, I don't know, for the past 5 years, and I've seen that number double over the past few years. Facebook is a big place for customer service. It's huge for customer service, and they're pushing that. And Messenger is what makes that possible. Your best practices for Facebook. Be sure you're using a business page and not a personal profile. So if someone has to add your business page as a friend, as opposed to like or follow it, you don't have a business page. You won't be able to advertise, you won't be able to see your analytics, and you're really cutting off your customer base. Not to mention the fact that you are going against Facebook's terms of service, right? And I know a lot of people aren't loving Facebook these days, right? Rightfully so. And people don't want to be on Facebook. You kind of have to be. As a small business, it's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck and reach the most people. You have to have a personal Facebook profile in order to have a business page. There's no way around that. People who like your business page can't see your personal profile from the business page. You don't have to worry about that, but you do have to have a personal profile in order to create a business page. You don't ever have to friend anyone. You don't ever have to post to your personal profile. If you're morally opposed to Facebook, you don't have to be an active user on your personal profile. You just have to have a personal login in order to create a business page. In order to get around your personal newsfeed, if you would rather just not deal with it at all, you can log into your business page directly at business.facebook.com. That bypasses your personal newsfeed and goes right to the Meta Business Suite, which used to be called Facebook Business Manager. Your page name and your username should be your business name, not yours, right? If you're a chiropractor, for example, and your practice name is not your name, then your Facebook page should be the name of your practice, not you. The only time your social media usernames or page names should be your name is if you are the product. If you're a lifestyle blogger, if you're a content creator, anything like that, that's when, if you're an influencer, that's when the page would be your name. Any other time, make it your business name. And I know that seems basic, like basic information, but it's a question that I get a lot, a whole lot, because people know me, not the business. They're never going to get to know the business if you don't name your profiles your business name. This is important. And we're going to talk about this bullet point also when we talk about integrating your social media into your whole marketing mix. Your language in your About section should be the same language as your website, as your Yelp, as your Google My Business, as all your other accounts. Your usernames throughout all your social accounts should try to, if you can't get them to be the same, they should be as close as possible, right? And consistency is important when it comes to running your small business, when it comes to marketing your small business. Consistency is key, or nothing's going to work. Your profile picture should be your logo. Make sure it is recognizable in a small format. What we're going to talk about is 91% of social media users, with the exception of LinkedIn, are coming to your pages on their phone. So you have this much real estate, very small. So if your profile picture is something that's like, if you're a contractor, if it's a picture of stairs or a picture of a deck you built, that's not really individual to your company. That's not helping anyone know who it is that they're looking at. And it's hard to see in such a small little circle. Your page info, please, please. The second we end this webinar, the second you go back to your desk, back to your computer, I want you to go to your Facebook page, your business page. I want you to go to the About This Business tab, the page information. I want you to make sure your business hours are correct. I want you to make sure, for the love, that your website is correct. So many small businesses build their Facebook pages first before they build out their website or buy their web address, and then they never change it on their Facebook page. There are so many local businesses that I've consulted with, or that I just am a customer of, that I go to click on their website on their Facebook page and it's wrong. It takes me to some other business, or it's a parked page and doesn't exist. Make sure it's right. Your address, your email, all the things on the information page, it should all be correct. And I know that sounds dumb to say, but like I said, it is a problem that I come across 7 times out of 10 when I am consulting with a company, or I'm just going on a company's Facebook page as a visitor. Have a plan for your content. A page that is left without updates is worse than not having a page at all. Remember when I asked you to start thinking about this? How do you feel about a business whose page hasn't been updated in a year? They don't care. They aren't prioritizing marketing. They don't have a system in place to tell you what their latest updates are. It doesn't look good. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it. That's going to be kind of the overarching theme of the day. If you can't fully commit, and we're going to go over ways to make social media easier for you, then don't do it. To get from your personal Facebook to a business page is a question that's in the Q&A. There's on the left-hand menu, when you log into your Facebook, there'll be an option that says pages, or it might pin it to like a shortcut. And then you'll click on your page there, and then it'll take you to your business page. All right, Instagram. Instagram is the best place for visual brands, right? So lifestyle or shoppable brands. Instagram shopping is huge, huge, huge. So if you have any kind of e-commerce, you definitely need to be making Instagram a priority. They are really, really pushing shoppable posts. You can have a Facebook shop as well, but Instagram is super, it's one of the most engaged platforms as far as sales and shopping and that kind of thing is concerned. It is visual, it is mobile only. You can view Instagram on a desktop, but you can only post and you can only build your Instagram account on mobile. It is rapidly growing, but that is slowing. And here's my theory. Now, this is not anything that I've seen published, right? This is not, I haven't seen anyone like really talk about this. I know teenagers that have 2 Instagram accounts, the one they have for their friends and the one that their family sees. And so I think that the reason we're seeing a little bit of slowing there is because we had a whole generation building 2 accounts. Now they're not really doing that anymore. And so I think that's why we're seeing that growth slow down. But Instagram is a super, super, super engaged platform. Now, just because you can doesn't mean you should. If you have a business where you don't have visuals, where you're just going to be putting up things just to put things up just because you feel like you should be there, don't do that, right? If you're not going to take the time to get your visuals together, to get a really nice bank of pictures and to figure out what your Instagram's going to look like, and if you really have the content to support it, or if that's where your audience is, then maybe skip Instagram. You want to be sure you've switched your account over to a professional account. A professional account allows you to connect and schedule from Facebook. So everything on Facebook and Instagram can be run on that Facebook Meta Business Suite. You can schedule your Instagram posts from there. You can answer DMs on there, all kinds of stuff. And then you can access your analytics, and that's not something you can do with a personal profile. Your username on Instagram should be the same, if not very similar to all other social usernames. Again, ideally, it's your business name. Your profile link, the link in your profile bio, that is the only clickable link that exists on Instagram. If you put a link in your post, it's not clickable. People can't click on it and then go to it. And that's why a lot of times you see people say link in bio. There's different aggregator tools that you can use to make that link give you some more bang for that real estate. So one's called Linktree, where it's one link, and that link has, once you click on it, it has other links going to where you're asking people to go to in that particular post. There's Linktree is only one of them. There's a ton of different options now. The best option always is if you have access to build out a page on your website, is to have that link in bio link aggregator be a page on your website. And that way you're always pushing people to something that you own. Always important. Your profile picture, again, should be your logo. Make sure it's recognizable in a small format. Be engaged. Instagram totally, absolutely trumps other platforms in terms of engagement. That means liking and commenting on posts, replying to comments on your posts, searching relevant hashtags, just being part of the conversation. And this is not something you have to do every day, but maybe take 1 to 2 hours a week and take some time and really engage on Instagram and become part of the community of whatever business you're in. And again, make sure you have good visuals. Put templates together if applicable. Get a bank of pictures together. Do your hashtag research. Literally, you can Google Instagram hashtag tools, and there's a ton of free ones that help you find applicable hashtags for your industry. There's a question in the Q&A. I have 15K followers on Instagram, but I can't get verified. Instagram verification is like a crapshoot, really. The first thing you want to do is make sure, if you're a business, that you have a business account. And then I think there's like a request that you can, a request process to get verified, but it's really, it's the same thing as trying to get verified on Twitter or trying to get verified on TikTok. You just put the request in and you hope for the best, to be honest. It's hard to do unless you have a lot of government officials or big content creators or celebrities. They have dedicated like Instagram and Facebook representatives that they speak to on a regular basis that moves that process along with them. So for the everyday person, it's a little harder. So here's what it looks like to set up your professional account on Instagram. So if you haven't switched over to professional account yet, you have your account set up, you're gonna click on those little bars in the upper right. And then you're gonna go to account, switch to a professional account. You get to choose whether you're a content creator or a business, unless you're an influencer or, someone whose job it is to just be pumping out like comedy videos or, thought leadership videos, you're gonna choose business. And your category is important, and that's why I left this screenshot in. Your category gives you access to other options within Instagram, and this goes for the same as Facebook. I think you only get to choose one category on Instagram, and in Facebook, I think you get 3. But for example, if you're a restaurant, if you choose restaurant under your category, you get the option of having a reservation button and of having an order online button. So there's different options you get access to based off your category. Also, you want to select the correct category and, kind of the most applicable category, because that forces Instagram and Facebook to kind of put you into a bucket. And so when they are suggesting accounts to people to follow, you're going to be put in a bucket, and that allows you to be suggested as a suggested account. Business.instagram.com/getting started. That's if you go to that on desktop, it takes you step by step on how to build out your account and get started with the professional account, with your business account, and takes you through the analytics. Again, you can only create your account on mobile, but you can go to business.instagram.com and access all their best practices and all their kind of like step-by-step information on your desktop. LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, if you are B2B, LinkedIn is going to be your platform du jour. It is the best place for B2B brands. If you are big enough to have an internal communications plan, LinkedIn's going to be big for that for you, and thought leadership. Unsurprisingly, 25 to 34 accounts for 60% of LinkedIn, right? That's kind of your professional sweet spot. LinkedIn has an even split down the middle between desktop and mobile usage. Why is this important? Well, because LinkedIn is for business. So most people are accessing it while they're on their computers. So you have to be you can be a touch less concerned about how things look on mobile with LinkedIn, and just know that during the day, during the workday, most of your LinkedIn is going to be looked at on a desktop. If you are recruiting, if you are hiring, LinkedIn is going to be a godsend for you. 40 million people look for a job on LinkedIn every week. It's huge for recruiting. Huge, huge, huge. Especially if you're a company that is doing remote hiring right now, if you're offering remote positions, that's a big place where LinkedIn can help you. It is ideal for thought leadership within your C-suite. LinkedIn has some new capabilities that we're going to go over in the next screen, especially for thought leadership. If you are not in your C-suite, if you have a business that has a C-suite, and your CEO or CFO or COO is not active on LinkedIn, and you really want to get a thought leadership program going, get them active. Get them active on LinkedIn. A lot of times it's going to be writing their content for them. I just actually ended a contract with a client where that was my main job. It was a small tech startup, and my job was to kind of be the thought leadership voice for their CEO. And I posted on his behalf on Twitter and LinkedIn, and engaged there. Some best practices for LinkedIn. Ask employees to use the official LinkedIn page as their employer. Now, a lot of times with social media and employees, it's a real gray area. And I think for LinkedIn, it's a little less gray because LinkedIn is such a professional platform. So ask employees to use official LinkedIn page as their employer. What does that mean? If you have someone who's been with your company for a while, maybe before you had a LinkedIn page, and they have your company as the employer, but they don't link your official company page to that. You just want to ask them, can you use the official company page as your employer? Why is that important? When you post to LinkedIn, you have an option to notify your employees of that post. So it's important, for that reason, if you want to get them involved, if you want them sharing your posts. But also it just looks good to have your employees have your official LinkedIn page as their employer, and then they're listed on your LinkedIn page as employees of the company. So it's just a lot of cross-pollination that gets extra eyeballs, free eyeballs on your page, which is always good. Be sure your page information is complete. There's so many places within LinkedIn. There's showcase pages, there's events, there's company pages, there's all kinds of like tabs within a company page now. Make sure everything that's applicable to your business is filled out. I saw a stat the other day that said something like LinkedIn pages that have all their profile information filled out get something like 75 to 80% more views than company pages that are just kind of like static. Engagement is important here. Join industry groups as your business page. Engage with influencers, thought leaders, partners. This is a great lead gen tool. Use it as such, especially if you are the C-suite of your company. If you're the head of your company, you really want to show that thought leadership. Get your whole company involved in LinkedIn. If you have a group of employees, use the notify employees button when you post an important update to prompt them to share it. Now be careful with that, right? You don't want to like every time you post a status, click notify employees, because that's annoying. But if it's something important, notify your employees that you've posted it and let them know you're going to do that so that they know that that means please share it. Have your department heads send content, department updates, long form content, industry news, all kinds of that stuff. What do I mean by long form content? Let me show you. So LinkedIn has just come out with some new features. Both as your personal page and your business page, you can write an article. You see that first screen grab there on the left on the top. That is basically a blog on your LinkedIn. If you are not the CEO of your company and you want to write something on behalf of your CEO, that is where you want to do it, right? So, but if you are the CEO of your company, that write article is really where you're going to get that thought leadership, because that is shareable. It is not only can your network share it, your business page can share it. There's just you can add hashtags to it, which gets you found, across LinkedIn. For business pages, when you click write article under your post, you have the option to create a newsletter. This is brand new. Literally yesterday, this slide was not in this presentation. I sent the new presentation this morning with these screen grabs on it. Newsletters are exactly what it is. And you can have one newsletter per page, right? So you can't really segment it the way you would an email newsletter. But this is a great way to further engage your followers. So they will be invited to subscribe and they will get notification when your page publishes your newsletter. You can choose how often you want the newsletter published, and all kinds of stuff. So this is a great way to add people to your email list. Because maybe for your LinkedIn newsletter, you just do a quick overview of your e-newsletter and you say, for more, sign up to get our weekly, quarterly, whatever e-newsletter. So maybe you do this at the halftime of you sending out your e-newsletter. Oh, what is thought leadership is a question in the Q&A. So thought leadership is when you become a leader in your industry, right? People come to you for advice, for information about your industry. So you are, publicly knowledgeable, I guess, about what it is that you specialize in, what your company specializes in. So for example, Elon Musk is a thought leader in electric cars. He had one of the first EV companies, right? So that's just a really weird example, but that's the first one I can think of. So also on LinkedIn now, you can create events. So you can, much like a Facebook event, online, in person. This is great for things like this for webinars. This is great for networking events. It's great if you're doing a job fair, anything that is B2B focused. LinkedIn event is going to be a great tool. You can do it as yourself or you can do it as your business. So those are some brand new LinkedIn opportunities. Twitter. We're going to talk about Twitter, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Twitter? If you haven't heard the news, Elon Musk, who's just the weird example I use about a thought leader, has done, well, I don't want to call it a hostile takeover of Twitter, but he has offered a whole lot of money to buy Twitter and take it private. Right now, Twitter is a public company, which means there are certain things in place to make sure that they follow the rules. That may change. We don't know. The takeover has to be approved. So, you know, right now, Twitter's kind of like a big shrug emoji. We really don't know what's going on with it. But for now, it is the best place for your breaking news, to engage with a super niche audience, and to reach journalists. If you're someone that does a lot of PR outreach, Twitter is going to become your best friend. Twitter has 330 million monthly active users. They are generally under the age of 50. Twitter is what's called a microblogging platform, was the original name of what Twitter was when it first came out. Unsurprisingly, the entire landscape of Twitter changed in 2016. What was 2016? It was a crazy election year. Twitter used to be a place for like high schoolers to promote that their parents aren't home and now they're having a party. Now it's a place where breaking news happens. News breaks on Twitter before it breaks anywhere else. Twitter is a real-time conversation. The life of a tweet, depending on how many followers or how many people an account follows, is anywhere between 2 to 10 seconds. So there's a 280 character, not word, character, including spaces, character limit on Twitter. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. The character limit on Twitter was originally 140 characters. There is a reason for that. Twitter is meant to be a quick, real-time conversation. So, short and sweet. Here's a tangent. It's coming. Practice writing complete thoughts in 280 characters or less. Abbreviations like great, straight, and other similar hashtag words, or what I call text speak, it's not recommended. Here's the deal. You're a business. You're a business. You're a professional. Act like it. Don't use fake words. Don't do it. It's not a good look. If it's part of your brand, right? If you're a young, hip brand, fine. But if you're an HVAC company using like GR8 for great, or using a bunch of abbreviations and no one knows what the heck you're talking about, be professional. Use real words. If you cannot figure out how to write a complete sentence in 280 characters or less, try again. Customer service. If you are going to have a Twitter, get ready. What do you do when your flight's late at the airport and no one has information for you? You tweet Delta, don't you? So does everyone else. Twitter is huge for customer service. If you are a larger company, get ready. If you are not prepared to be responsive and have that customer service aspect of your Twitter, it might not be the best place for you to be. Twitter is a great way to engage with journalists. It's big with breaking news. It can help with your PR efforts. Especially if, if you follow a lot of local journalists, if you're someone who when I used to work in tourism, for example, the tourism budget one year got taken. That line item just got taken off the budget in Delaware, and we had no tourism, or had, the threat of not having tourism in Delaware. And we followed that basically on Twitter. We followed the Joint Finance Committee and all the journalists that were kind of breaking that news live on Twitter. And we did a lot of our lobbying there. Or, at least got the information there, and got to talk to a lot of journalists there that we would have, that's where they were. They weren't on their email, they were on Twitter. So it's just a great way to engage with journalists if that's part of your business. Engage with other brands, no matter your size. This can be a great place for camaraderie. Competitive. I feel like in this new landscape, in this new world that we're in, there's a lot less competition. Twitter's crowded. Like I said, the general life of a tweet is between 2 to 10 seconds. It requires time, it requires engagement, and it requires a rock solid strategy. If you don't have those things, might not be where you need to go. As a small business owner, you only have so much time in your day. So if you don't have time to really focus on a lot of different social media platforms, this might be the one that you can take off your plate. Again, we don't know what the future of Twitter is. Stay tuned. New feature, Twitter for Professionals. So this is like their version of a creator or business account. It's new. They just rolled it out, I think in the past few months. So Twitter for Professionals, that is the link to what that is, what it gives you access to. It just gives you access to some extra features like a longer about section, more links in your bio, and then some extended analytics. But when you get this presentation, you'll be able to click that link. Other platforms, Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest. You are a lifestyle brand if you have an e-commerce store, if you are a clothing boutique, if you have a recipe blog. Pinterest, get on there. It's huge. It's a huge driver of web traffic. However, it is not geographically specific, so be aware of that. TikTok is huge right now. I cannot overemphasize it. It is not just 12-year-olds dancing. TikTok now has more engagement than Facebook. It became huge with millennials during the pandemic. I myself follow a lot of people on TikTok regarding a lot of different things. It's a huge place for online learning right now. So again, for that thought leadership, if you're someone who can nationally be a thought leader, TikTok is your For You page, they get you. You are put into the tiniest little niche buckets, and you get some incredible content directed right towards you. So it's a great place if you have educational content and if you are selling, but it isn't local only. You cannot target locally. So if you are going to be on TikTok, make sure you can serve a national audience. Snapchat, I've never met a company whose audience is on Snapchat. Let the dream go. You can't afford Snapchat marketing, so don't worry about it. Forget about it. You don't need it. As far as marketing is concerned, you can snap with your friends all day long. No one's audience is on Snapchat. Content best practices. How to set your social media strategy. Figure out your objectives. What do you want social media marketing to do for your business? Write these down. Then prioritize them in terms of realistic value. Do not come to me, ever. Do not come to anyone, ever, and say, I want to go viral. Sit down. Going viral is neither realistic nor an objective. It's called going viral because it happens by accident. You cannot decide to go viral. That's not how it works. Let that dream go. Outline your audience. Who are you trying to reach? By outlining your audience and who you're trying to reach, that's how you're going to know what platform you need to focus on. I would be willing to bet for most of you, it's going to be Facebook, Instagram, or Facebook and LinkedIn if you're B2B. Go into detail here. If you haven't put together your buyer personas as part of your business plan, make sure you're doing that. Because when we get into advertising, you're going to need to know those personas. Research your competitors. What are they doing? Is their content engaging? Is there anything you can do better? There's not one original thought in the world anymore. It's called borrowing. Just borrow. You can borrow their ideas and borrow their content and just make it like you did it. Fine. Everyone does it. Who will be posting? This is so important for small businesses. Everyone wears 15 hats. I'm a small business myself. I get it. This is so hard. You want to keep it consistent with 1 or 2 people that has access to the accounts. You always want to have more than one person having access to your account. Why? I just got locked out of my Facebook last week. I've had Facebook since 2005. Facebook shut down my account for literally no reason. I got stuck in this security loophole where I couldn't get into my account. I lost access to everything and I had to build a whole new account. The only reason my clients and my own business page could be brought back to me is because other people were on it, not just me. You always want to have at least 2 people with access to your business page in case something like that happens, because it happens a lot. Unless you are committed to being active participants with a consultant, I would recommend at least starting your social media presence. If you're just starting out, keep it in-house. Learn how to do it. Learn the kind of content that works, that doesn't work. And then if you really find out, I just don't have time for this, I gotta like contract it out, then bring a consultant in. But if you're gonna bring a consultant in, you have to be an active participant. Like I always tell my clients, I can't promote what I don't know. If you're a restaurant and you have an outside consultant, you better be sending them pictures of your specials every day. You better be set, because then what else are they posting? What information could they possibly give your customers that is useful if you're not feeding them the information? So if you're going to bring a consultant in, make sure you're meeting with them at least once a month to get them the information they need to make your social media presence effective. What tone will you use and how will you speak? Who are you as a company and as a brand? Humanize your company. Literally think of your company as a person and put a personality to it. That's how you're going to speak. Whether you're serious, I just finished with that tech startup and our personality was like funny and snarky, and it was, not at all serious. We use GIFs on LinkedIn, which is something like everyone will tell you never to do that, but that went along with the company's persona. Figure out who you are as a brand. What will your graphics look like, and do you need templates? Will you use the same aesthetic for all your photos? It's just something to think about. You don't have to, but does it match with your brand to do that? Using high quality images is important, but they don't have to be professional. You have a pretty great camera right on your phone, right here in your pocket all the time, no matter what kind of phone you have, as long as it's not like, an old school like Razr flip phone. You have a great camera on your phone. Practice a little bit. Play around with your phone, the lighting, learn as you go. Now, here's the thing with all this. You don't have to do all this every day. Here's what I tell all small businesses that I consult with. Take an 8-hour day once a month. Figure out your social media for the next month. Write all your posts, schedule them, and then you're done for the month. Or if you can't take one 8-hour day and do it, take a 4-hour day every few weeks. Take a chunk of time every few weeks and dedicate it to getting your social media together and scheduling your social media out. If you schedule, your life will be easier. I'm going to show you how to schedule. Don't worry, but you can schedule on every single platform, either using the platform natively or using a third-party tool. But having a plan and a strategy in place is so important for success. If you're just winging it, you're not going to be successful. Here's what's not to do. Different platforms exist for a reason. I'll go over this quickly. If you want to use the same content on every platform, that's fine. I do it. I get it. It's a lot. It's building out content, a lot to do. But if you're going to push if you're going to like click the button on Instagram that says also publish to Facebook, no, it's going to look weird. The tags aren't going to come through. The hashtags look sloppy. If you push to Twitter from Instagram, the photo doesn't come through. If you push from Twitter to Facebook, or from Facebook to Twitter, excuse me, Twitter has a character limit. It's going to cut off in the middle of a sentence. It's just not a good look. If you're going to use the same content on every platform, which again is fine, just make sure you're making it look good on every platform. You know, if you schedule on Facebook, you have the ability to make different statuses for both Facebook and Instagram. So you can make those statuses look good on each of those different platforms. If you're using a third-party tool, most of the tools have the option for you to customize that status for each platform. It just takes an extra few seconds to make it look good and make it look professional and like you know what you're doing, because you are a professional and you do know what you're doing. When the world shut down, people stopped wanting to see stock photos and fakeness, and they started to want to see realness. CEOs that came out with produced and crazy videos about how they care about COVID were shot down. The CEO that put their phone in front of their kitchen table and talked about we're working from home too, those were the ones that got praised. And that is still happening. The name of the game right now is authenticity. Social media users and your customers in general, not just on your social media, but just in business in general, they expect humanity, they expect transparency, and they want you to own who you are and who your brand is. Having an opinion is no longer a bad thing. Have an opinion, but be able to come with any backlash that opinion may have, but you're fine to make a statement, to have an opinion, to be a real human behind a brand. You're just going through the motions and you're putting out super generic or super salesy posts. Your customers aren't going to stick with you. It's boring. They're going to hide you. They're not going to follow you anymore. And listen, you don't want to hang out with someone that talks about themselves and try to sell to you all the time. You don't want to hang out with that person, so don't be that person on social media. Staged generic photos, they're out. Photos from real customers and real people, it's in. People want realness. They want to see the humanity of your company. Again, with the real words, complete sentences, please, please. Here's the bottom line here with your content. The more recent your last post on social media is, the more confidence your customers are going to have that you are open and ready to serve them. An account with no or outdated content is worse than no account at all. Don't have social media if you're not going to put the time in to do it right. That is the bottom line. Perfect social media posts. Oh, geez. I know I'm starting to run out of time. All right, I'm going to make it fast. Perfect social media posts. Limit how many times your audience has to press the more button. With Instagram, it's 3 lines. If they have to press the more button for every single post, it's not a good look. Now, long posts are good for some things. Play around with it, figure out what your audience likes, but not every single post should be the Great American Novel. Encourage engagement. Ask questions. You want to talk to your audience, not at them. Most platforms judge you based on audience response. It's an engagement-based platform. So say, comment if blah, 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 share this, if blah, 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 can we get a like for blah, 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 whatever you want to do. Have a call to action. Tell your audience what to do. What's the goal of the post? If you want them to click a link, tell them to click the link. In general, people need to be told what to do. Tell them what to do. Think mobile first. 91% of social traffic is mobile. If you have small text on an image, try again. Try again. Under 16-point font, nope, don't do it. Watch your filters. For the love of God, watch your filters. If you are a restaurant, I don't want to eat your food after you've put 20,000 filters on. I don't know what it looks like. Filters were a thing that were super popular when Instagram first came out. But now I just want to see what your freaking chicken parm looks like so that I can eat it. I don't want your sauce to look orange and green. That's unnecessary. Show your customers what your products, your store, your space, your food actually looks like. Don't hide behind a million filters. It looks awful. Hashtags. The most important thing about hashtags here, keep your hashtags easy to spell and make sure it looks good in all lowercase. You're going to have a branded hashtag. You're using like a hashtag to be funny. I'm telling you, spell it out all together, all in lowercase, and then stare at it for 5 minutes. You don't want it spelling something weird, and you know what I mean. You've seen the weird things that hashtags can spell when you're not careful. Don't overuse hashtags in a single post. You get 30 on Instagram. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. That looks spammy. Don't hashtag every single word. If you sell Adirondack chairs, hashtagging Adirondack hashtag chair is doing 2 very different audiences, not the audience searching for hashtag Adirondack chairs. Just hashtag the phrase, hashtag the actual thing, not every single word. Don't use punctuation. Punctuation cuts the hashtag off. A hashtag is essentially a link to grouping posts together or grouping a community together. If you use punctuation, for example, it's IT''S, the hashtag is going to be IT and then cut off. So no punctuation in hashtags. This is a personal preference and a personal pet peeve. If you want to use hashtags on Facebook, go ahead and do it, but it's doing nothing for you. Why? Do you search hashtags on Facebook? Neither does anyone else. It does absolutely nothing. Facebook would like you to believe it does something. It does nothing. It does not increase your reach. Get rid of them on Facebook. Curation versus creation. Curation, you didn't write it, but your audience would love it. Here's the important part of this slide. If you're going to curate your content, if you're going to use articles, things you didn't write and create specifically for your audience, tell your audience why you're sharing it. If you're sharing an article from the New York Times, tell your audience why you're sharing the article. Don't just share the link with no context. Don't just share a picture of someone coming into your business with no context. Why are you sharing it? Why do you think this piece of content is important for your audience to see? Content creation, you've created it. It's owned media, your blogs, your white paper, your infographics, anything you create specifically for your audience. No matter if it's created or curated, it has to be aligned with your business, with your social strategy, with your goals, and your audience has to care. How do you get your audience to care? You tell them why. Why are you sharing this? Always think about the why. What is your why when you're sharing content? Integrating social media into your marketing mix. Your golden rule, social media is not a strategy by itself. Social media is not a business strategy. It is part of your marketing mix. Be sure your social media presence is consistent with your organization's brand. Your creative, your language, the story you tell should all be the same across all your marketing. Because if not, it's very confusing to your customer. Step 2, link to your own content. Your Facebook should link to your website, the correct web address. Your website should have links to your social media. Your print collateral should include your web address and a CTA's call to action, a call to action to find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or if you've created a branded hashtag, your hashtag. Know that social media isn't magic. Building a following takes time. You're not going to be an overnight social media success story, and that's okay. It's okay. You're not going to get 10,000 new customers the second you set up an Instagram. That's not realistic. Have realistic expectations, but know that it is important and it only works if you integrate it with everything else that you're doing with your marketing. quick Facebook and Instagram advertising overview. Facebook and Instagram ads are super powerful. You can get so specific with how you target, right? If you're a daycare, you can target parents of a certain age or parents who have kids of a certain age in a certain geographic region. You can target people who are traveling within a certain geographic region. Both Facebook and Instagram ads are done in Facebook. You do not need an Instagram to advertise on Instagram. If you have a Facebook page and you want to advertise on Instagram, you can. And if someone clicks on that profile, it'll just send them to your Facebook page. If you want to target your current customers, you have an email list, you can upload your email list. Facebook has about an 85% match rate. And you can target your email list on Facebook. This is huge because the general rule is you need about 5 different touch points before an action is taken, right? So you need to be hitting people in different places before they do the action you want them to do. So targeting an email list you already have is a huge opportunity that you have on Facebook and Instagram advertising. This is where you want to use the high quality and captivating images. It's the time to use a photographer. It truly is. Be sure you're leading people that click on your ad to the page you want them to go to. So for example, if I'm promoting a sale in my store and I click on the ad to find out about that sale, the page I go to better be a page talking about that sale and not just the home page that has no information about that sale or that product or whatever. Every time someone has to take another click to get to where to find information, you're going to lose 50% of your audience. So don't make them go down a rabbit hole. Take them to the page you want them to go to that has the information you are telling them about on the ad. Don't stress over your budget. There is no secret sauce here, guys. There is no secret sauce. You don't need $1,000 a month to advertise on Facebook. Facebook and Instagram advertising is inexpensive and it is effective. I would say you don't want to spend any less than like $5 a day. That's going to be a waste of your money. But if you have $25 a month and you can boost, your most important post, or you can, put up 2 ads for $25 a month, then that's what you can do. Don't go broke trying to do ads. It's not worth it. They're going to be effective no matter your budget. When you pick your audience and then pick your budget, Facebook's going to tell you how much of your audience you can reach with that budget. So don't go crazy. Just do what you can. Facebook and Instagram make it really easy to advertise. The difference between a boost and an ad is really just how you can target it. That's really it. And there is a link there telling you the difference between a boosted post and ads. It's very, very minute differences. Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter, they all make it very easy to advertise on their platform, and they walk you through it step by step. Why? Because they want your money and they want you to keep advertising with them. So they make it as effective and easy as possible to do so. LinkedIn ads are a little more complicated than Facebook and Instagram ads, the way they do their budgeting. So if you are interested in LinkedIn ads, definitely go through their guide on LinkedIn ads and make sure you thoroughly read it, because it does get a little confusing on LinkedIn. But these are all the guides: Facebook's guide to their advertising, Instagram's guide to their advertising, LinkedIn and Twitter. I've never had success with Twitter ads, by the way, but I know a lot of people that do. Again, that's going to be real industry specific. But it's not something that I would waste your money on if you have a limited budget. Here's your toolbox and your resources. Canva is incredible. If you are not someone who knows anything about graphic design, Canva is going to be where you want to go. Canva is a cloud-based design program. It's great. It is free. Here's my thing, and I usually start with this, and I'm surprised I didn't. I am the most frugal person I know. My favorite price point is free. Everything in this social media toolbox has a free version. You're going to be just fine using the free versions. If you're a nonprofit, by the way, a lot of these give free versions of the paid version to nonprofits. So if you have a 501, make sure you're making use of free version or free access to paid versions of things. Canva has templates. They're wonderful. They make designing for the non-designer very, very easy. You can also schedule your Facebook and Instagram posts directly from Canva, which makes it even easier. Photopea. If you know Photoshop, if you need Photoshop, if you'd like to learn Photoshop and you don't want to buy the Adobe suite, you don't have to. Photopea is free online Photoshop. Capwing is some free video tools. They are the free version of it is a little limited as far as what you can upload and how much you can upload. I think 7 minutes might be the maximum as far as videos are concerned. If you are needing to upload a video for social media that is longer than 7 minutes, I'm going to want you to think about it. Just think about, do you need all those 7 minutes? And can you cut it down to 30 seconds? Do you need a 7-minute video on social media? Are you watching 7-minute videos on your social media? Think about it. Yay text. When you see Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn posts, any social post that has formatting, maybe bolding, maybe italics, that is not native within the platforms. You cannot format text on any social media platform. With Yay text, you can. You type in what text you want formatted, and then it gives you options to copy and paste of various formats. There's like italicized, there's shadows, there's all kinds of like fun ways that you can format your text. For my clients, use italicized and the bold formatting quite a bit on Yay text. Schedule, listen, and engage. So these are three of, I think, the most beginner user-friendly scheduling tools. For Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you can schedule natively on those platforms, which I would recommend doing. Again, on Instagram, you schedule on Facebook. And I think you can schedule on Pinterest now too. LinkedIn, you cannot schedule. So Hootsuite, Buffer, and Later.com all give you, I believe, Jen Accord, yes, I believe you're correct. Hi, Jen. I do believe that that the like dragon text and like some of those things that maybe will read text for a vision impaired person on a screen cannot read the Yay text formatting. That is the question. I do believe that's correct. So if accessibility is a big thing with you and your customers, you're not going to want to use that. That is true because it plays with the coding of the site. Hootsuite, Buffer, and Later.com, I believe each give you 2 or 3 platforms for free that you don't have to pay to use them. Again, scheduling is really great because you can sit down, you can bang out a bunch of content at once, schedule it, and then all you have to remember to do is do the engagement part of it. Your online resources. These are some blogs that I really, really like and that I go to often, as well as all the business resources for the platforms themselves. Again, the platforms make it really, really easy for you because they want you to be on there, they want you to spend money with them, and they want you to be successful. Spot is a marketing suite. They have a few different blogs. They have a marketing blog, a sales blog, I think a social media dedicated blog, but they have some great beginner resources that it's just worth going on their blog and just checking out some of their resources. They even have templates available, which are wonderful. Later is an Instagram scheduling tool. They are an Instagram partner. So what that means, and they are the #1 Instagram partner. They were the first scheduling tool for Instagram that ever existed. And so what that means is a lot of features that come out on Instagram that you can't schedule on other third-party tools, Later will have access to that first. And their Instagram blog is hands down the best because they are one of the premier partners with Instagram. So they have access to a lot of features and a lot of things that no other scheduling platform has. And so their Instagram blog, if that is a platform that you're going to be spending a lot of time on, subscribe to their Instagram blog for sure. CoSchedule is a third-party scheduling tool. I don't actually love their tool, but their blog is very good. Again, they have a lot of great beginner content. And the other links there are all the platform-specific business resources from the platform themselves. Whew. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you for joining in on this today. I know it was a lot. It's overwhelming. Take it one day at a time. You don't have to be everywhere. Pick a platform. Do that platform well first, and then move on to another platform. But make sure you give yourself time to get it right. And it's not the end of the world if you don't get it right the first time. It's just social media, but it is important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabby. We have just like a handful of questions that I think we could answer in the next few minutes. I know we've run over on our scheduled hour, but we will try to answer some of these questions real quick. So Denny had a good question. They said, what's the difference between boost and an ad?
So basically the difference between a boosted post and an ad is the way it's set up. So an ad campaign is a very organized, if you go to your ads manager, you'll see like campaigns almost show up in like folders, as opposed to your boosted post just shows up as post and then the text of the post. You can get more granular with your targeting in an ad campaign as opposed to a boosted post. And an ad campaign is something you create. A boosted post is something you're just putting money behind something that already exists. There is a link on one of the slides to a really great explanation from Facebook on the differences between the two, but that's just kind of like the surface level difference.
Okay, perfect. Danny also had a question. You had mentioned earlier giving someone else admin access just in case you get locked out. They said, I'm the only person. Who do I give admin access to? Do I make a separate profile?
You know, the other person that had access to my business page when I lost access to my account was like my husband. It's just like my fail safe. Like he's just like, you know, I just had him on there just in case, and thank God I did. So it's any person that you trust. If it's just you, you know, in your business can be an admin on a page just so you have one other person that has access to that. You could make a dummy account if you wanted to. But you just want to make sure that that dummy account doesn't fall into like a security loophole or something, you know, if you lose access to your main account. So it's the best practice is to just have an actual person to be another admin on the account.
Perfect. Susan Colby asked if you could talk a bit about how your content should align with your target persona's tone and style.
Yeah. Hi, Susan. Yeah. So, oh, it's Michelle Schiavone. Hi, Michelle. So yes, that is very true. So if you have a different audience on LinkedIn than you do on Facebook, right? So especially if we're talking about the Prosperity Partnership, for example, there might have a different audience on Facebook than on LinkedIn. Maybe on Facebook, they're dealing a lot with the current business owners here in Delaware, and on LinkedIn, that's where they're prospecting for people to bring their business to Delaware. So that's going to be a situation where you don't want to just push content on all the platforms at once. You want to make your Facebook post, you know, relatable to your audience there, which would be businesses currently in Delaware. Or, and then on LinkedIn, you want to target that post to businesses you want to bring to Delaware. So it's going to be two different ways that you're going to maybe even talk about the same piece of content. You can talk about the same blog post in two different ways on two different platforms because you want it to match who your audience is on that particular platform. So it takes a little bit longer as far as when you're scheduling things out to do it that way, but it's so much more effective than just making a blanket statement, no matter who the audience is on every single platform that you're on. So, you know, so that you're just that outreach and that targeting and your goals are going to be a lot more effective that way.
All right. We actually had a question in the chat that I wanted you to touch on. Well, Joanne Stout actually remained down. She said she's had issues reaching out to Facebook's customer service. So do you have tips or tricks? Do we send them flowers, chocolate?
Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? You know, for a platform that really harps on you should be using Facebook for customer service, Facebook has no customer service. If you've been on Facebook long enough as an admin, every once in a while, you'll have access to a live chat when you go to the business support page. But not everyone has access to that. I have access to it. Well, I really don't anymore since I lost my Facebook, but yeah, when I lost my Facebook, I had access to no human person at Facebook at all and couldn't get access to any human person. No, the answer is no. There is no way to guarantee you're going to get a hold of someone at Facebook. You can try going to your business suite. Again, that's business.facebook.com and clicking the question mark and just answering some questions to get to the business support page. If there's a chat option there, hop on it and wait as long as it takes to get someone on a live chat. But that live chat option is not always there for everyone. So if it is your lucky day and you have that, get on there and just wait to talk to a human. But that is the only way to talk to a human.
Great, thank you. You may have answered this earlier from Jennifer Accord. Are there issues with formatting text with something like Yay Text? Did you get that?
Yeah. So because Yay Text changes the coding of the site, the text to speech won't read it. They won't be able to read it. So if you you know, are someone who is very concerned with accessibility, if a lot of your audience is, you know, visually impaired, you're not going to want to use that formatting option.
Okay, that's good to know. And then we just have one more. Suggestions on how to best choose your audience for boost or ads on Facebook.
So when you either boost or create an ad campaign on Facebook, what I like to tell people to do is put, it's like a little box that you have where you're going to choose your audience. So say your audience, say you're a daycare and you want to target parents of preschoolers, of toddlers, you know, up to first grade. I would type in parents into that little box, and then Facebook is going to populate what they think you're looking for. Click on the first thing that you're looking for that you see, and then right next to that, there's going to be a little button that says suggestions. Then click that suggestion button, and Facebook's going to show you all the ways you can target. So as long as you put in 1 to 2 things that's going to lead Facebook in the right direction, then you click that suggestions button. They're going to show you all the other ways you can target. And there's also ways to do and or. So if you want to target, if you're a magazine and if you're a food magazine, you want to target people who like food or they like to go out to eat, or you want people who like food and they like to go out to eat. So if you want the end, there's a button that says narrow your audience. That's the end as opposed to the or.
All right, perfect. Oh, we have one last question. Do you truly think every business could benefit from social media? For instance, they're a solar company. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So if you're a solar company that's B2B, LinkedIn is going to be a huge place for you, especially with solar companies. There's a huge opportunity there for thought leadership, you know, to really teach and for educational content. If you're a residential solar company, you know, I think a lot of people don't understand how that works. So that's a huge opportunity for education and for sales. You know, education then turns into sales once people understand the business model and how it works. You know, so Facebook might be a great place for you there because you can target homeowners. You know, so yeah, absolutely. No matter your industry, you can make a case for being on whatever social platform your customers are on.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Gabby. This was so great. So many comments in the chat that this was really helpful. Someone said, do you consult to small businesses? And yes, Gabby does. So I'll be sending out the recorded presentation as well as the slides for the presentation, which will be clickable. So you can click through to the different links and resources she shared. So thank you again, Gabby.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.